Welcome to Share Thoughts. I am Cheryl, and these are my thoughts. Hardcore porn also has the ability to separate sex from respect, from dignity, from kindness, from love, and enthusiastic consent. Hardcore porn does not promote any of these things. Again, it's about just getting it in, getting it done. That's it. Listen, it's not about every time you have sex, it's love and stuff. No, sometimes you just want a hardcore fuck. Like, let's be real. But again, if all you're seeing is this kind of, I want to say angry, but angry is probably the wrong word, just this kind of animalistic kind of urgency and just no kindness, no tenderness, no intimacy, just bang in there, you're not necessarily going to understand that sex can be a little bit more sensual at times. It's basically the opposite of what healthy relationships are. I feel like people that are overexposed to hardcore porn don't understand what sex in healthy relationships can look like. Another thing to consider about hardcore porn is this escalating need to go one step further. Watch something even more hardcore. It's like you're chasing a high. Over time, one might become more and more comfortable with things that they weren't previously comfortable with. Obviously, that being said, not everybody that consumes porn or hardcore porn is going to be someone that wants to assault or abuse another person. Regardless of how hardcore it is, they might just be able to watch it and detach and separate. That's fine. However, there are studies that have shown people who consume porn more are actually more likely to become sexually aggressive. So that's quite concerning in terms of a study. These are not one-size-fits-all rules, trends that have been noted from various studies and that kind of thing. I think it's important to talk about addiction when discussing porn, not because it's a byproduct of watching porn, but because a lot of people believe it actually is. I think this is why there's a massive school of thought that porn should be done privately, because it's addictive, if that makes sense. Whilst I agree, yeah, porn should be watched in private. It's not something that you do on the bus or on the train or at work in front of your colleagues. It's a private moment. I think it's important to note that most people that watch porn are not addicted. Addiction, as with anything else, is when an individual can't control their urge to indulge in something. Think using drugs as an example, where you need to have that line, or alcohol, you have to have that drink. You can't control it. In fact, without it, you find it hard to function. The same would apply to porn addiction. And whilst 95% of adults that consume porn, again, this is another stat that I found, are not addicted, worryingly, the 3 to 5% that are seemingly addicted or appearing to be addicted is set to increase. And again, that's because of obviously the exposure, the overexposure to young people. Just to kind of put that into context, the average age of exposure to porn for boys is 11, and over half of girls in the UK population have viewed porn by the time that they're 18. I would probably go further and say that's nearly 100%, because when you think about like WhatsApp and social media platforms, from the time you've got a profile, from the time you've got WhatsApp, you're exposed. Like, someone's going to send you some shit. Whether you choose to watch it and kind of engage in it is another story, but someone's going to send you some shit, or you're going to see it, you're going to run into it, you're going to bump into it. Sadly, it's inevitable. And studies have definitely shown that early exposure, or the earlier that an individual is exposed to porn, the higher the risk of addiction or potential addiction. Just before I wrap up, I've outlined a lot of issues that are wrong with mainstream porn. Again, not trying to piss on anyone's parade, because at the end of the day, as a consenting adult, you can choose what you want to do. There are a lot of issues with mainstream porn. And because of this, the demand for ethical porn is increasing. Ethical porn, which is sometimes referred to as feminist porn or fair trade porn, is basically pornography that's made consensually. It treats performers with respect and pays performers and filmmakers fairly for their work. Because again, another thing with mainstream porn, a lot of women are paid less than the men, yet they take more of the work. And then obviously you've got the whole race issue as well, like, black performers generally get less than their white counterparts and so on and so forth. There's a lot of issues when it comes to pay as well. There is also a mutual understanding with everybody on the set. Everyone knows what feels comfortable and what's happening, basically. Ethical porn also shows a more realistic view of sex. It generally shows people with diverse bodies. It shows real female pleasure as well, again, which is something that mainstream porn generally doesn't do. It's fake. A lot of it's fake. We can see it's fake. Ethical porn, yeah, it kind of aims to cater towards women, because mainstream porn historically has been done in such a way where it's more appealing to men. Women can watch it, we can enjoy it as well, but the target audience for the most part is men. So if you've ever wondered about ethical porn and you're wondering, well, how do I even know if this is ethical or not? Basically, the ethical standards that they have to adhere to are the performers and crew get paid fairly. Ethical porn is usually not free, so you're not going to find it on the porn hubs and the X videos and that kind of stuff, you're going to pay. You're more than likely going to sign up to a subscription service. This is basically because that money that you sign up to pay for helps to pay everyone fairly. It also shows, as I said before, it shows real sexual pleasure, and it just keeps it real. Like, sex can be messy. Sex can be really, really messy. It can be clumsy. It can be awkward. It can be funny. It can be serious. It can be all of that. So ethical porn kind of aims to highlight all of that. It will show every kind of side of it. As I said before, it shows diversity, body size, color, gender, persuasion, ability, whereas again mainstream generally fits one kind of mold. There's a specific kind of way generally. And I think the most important fact is everything is created consensually. Consent is a massive thing. Let's be real. Sometimes you have to wonder when you're watching mainstream porn, primarily, did that woman consent to that? Because that looks a little bit suspect. You can see, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on a porn set. I haven't, but I've seen videos, if that counts. Like, seriously, how it usually goes is they're kind of told what it's going to be about, and a lot of it is kind of improvised. You know, they have like a kind of indication of what they're supposed to be doing, but ultimately it's improvised. I mean, it's directed, so you'll have someone telling you what to do or where to move, how to do it, but ultimately things kind of take on its own kind of momentum with mainstream porn. So there is like that line between whether that was actually consensual or not. I think with ethical porn, it's everyone knows from the get-go, this is what's happening, this is how it's going. Are we cool? If we're cool, we proceed. If we're not, we pull it up. So yeah, ethical porn is there. It's an option. A couple of sites that I would recommend. I would suggest frolicme.com. They're an ethical porn site. Also lustcinema.com. They're two sites that I would definitely recommend checking out if you want to see what ethical porn is all about. I mean, it's not to say that you can't sit down and watch mainstream porn or, you know, view the porn hubs and the X videos and that kind of stuff. That's fine. But just be mindful and aware of what's happening. And yeah, I just think porn's going to be here to stay, right? It's big business. It makes a lot of money. It even puts people on the map. I think if we can keep it as real, although having said, I don't know, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because sometimes it's about fantasy as well. Obviously do you, yeah, do you consciously? I guess that's all I can say. So that's it from me. That's it from me. A lot of talk about porn. So yeah, until next time, happy porn watching. Make it ethical. If it's not ethical, keep it tidy. If it's hardcore that you like, keep a grip. Catch you next time.